Hello! Just finished work, mega tired today, so I will try and do a less manic video. I'm going to talk about suicide again and how I'll kind of develop the theme that I had in a previous video of how the other side of suicide is kind of liberation. See, one of the biggest threats hanging over our heads throughout our whole life is that life ending. And when you're thinking about committing suicide and you seriously want to commit suicide, there is a little flip that can occur where you suddenly realise, look, if I'm prepared to do the awful to myself, then what threat is there against me? You know, come at me, bro. What can you do against me that I'm not now prepared to do to myself? As Eminem says, what can you do against a man that will strangle himself? You become invulnerable, invincible, right? Not because this can't get damaged and you can't die, but because you don't give a fuck anymore, if that's really where you are. I mean, a lot of people will use suicide as a kind of manipulative tactic. They don't mean that they want to die. What they mean is that when they try and say, oh, if you don't do this for me, or if this doesn't happen, then I'll kill myself. They're still trying to bargain, you know, kind of with the universe. And the universe is a brick wall across the motorway, son. It don't take no bargaining force. People do sometimes, and that's what they're trying to do. It's a form of abuse, but as we all know, people that abuse are generally victims of abuse themselves. So they're to be pitied, not scorned. At least from my way of thinking, which is just subjective to this body here, and is not at all objective. So if you want to scorn them and that's what you're going to do, well, that's just part of what is on it, and who am I to argue against what is? Well, I will, because it's fun. So yeah, you realise that I'm prepared to kill myself. So what have I got to fear? What's stopping me from doing what I want to do? Why don't I go off and rob a bank? You know, like if I was really going to kill myself, I'd always thought that a good way of doing it would be to go and rob a bank, get all the money, pile it up into a heap. I used to think this when I was younger and more immature. Now it's just a funny little anecdote to say about the funny stuff my thoughts come up with. So yeah, get all the money from the bank, pile it up on the floor in the main hall, and just immolate myself upon it. You know, set it alight and sacrifice myself on this pyre made out of money. That would be quite grand, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, ultimately it's like the realisation that we're going to die anyway, but just hasten. Like if you've got death coming tomorrow, what are you going to do today? How would you live your life differently? And this is a good yoga, I would say, a good discipline to practice. What would I do today if I was going to die tomorrow? How would I live? And it's liberating. That's why. I mean, there's a non-dual aspect to this as well. Again, non-duality comes into everything, where this apparent kind of it's miserable and awful, the desperation that you must be at in order to commit suicide. But all the conditions that make this a negative, awful thing are also the conditions which can make it a marvelous thing. Just a small little flip, and then you realise how free you are. How unshackled you are, like, and then from that state, after you've had that realization, I had it in kind of 2016. It was part of the precursor to one of my so-called enlightenment experiences, and it's kind of like the gutter, which is where you're at before you flip, when you're thinking of killing yourself, is at the same time the heights. You know, you go up really, really high, and from that really high point, everything seems like it's close. Everything seems easy to get to. So you go down again to the ground, and then it's hard and it's arduous. There are obstacles to overcome, hills to climb, dales to get under and over, or whatever. And it's like you become embroiled again within the process. You become ensnared. But then again, there's always that hint of Gedanken at the back of your mind, which says to you, look, Chris, you're here on purpose. Not any purpose outside of yourself, but my purpose. I'm here because I choose to be. I can exit stage left at any time. It's fucking easy. There are buses going across the road all the time. So I'm here, right? And all these guns that people have got to my head, they only have power because I give them power, because I let this fear of death grow in me, and the desperation sometimes of being ensnared, that ensnarement produces the desperation, puts you into desperate straits, which then leads to the point at which you realise you just go fucking Hulk and throw them off. But just before you go Hulk, there is anger and sadness, and oh no, and then Hulk, oh, I'm free, I can do what the fuck I want. It's a flip-flop ability, and then you get embroiled again, and you get entangled, you become invested, and of course, because you get invested, you then have to abide by certain rules. You have to do certain things to get certain things. And why not? Why not get embroiled and entangled? You can do it in a fun way. That's a bit of a gay posture, isn't it? A gay posture. Hello, darling. How's it going, Barbara? What do you think of my glasses? Goodbye.